probably talked years ago. I'll have to go back and search my archives of as many interviews as I've done, but I appreciate you coming back on the show to update us on how things are going with you. How are you?
Thank you, buddy. Well, it's a pleasure to be back on. Yeah, I'm with you. I had to go back and think about it, but I do remember I had a great time on the show
It was
before.
just radio, no face to face. This is what's funny. I'm bringing people back, the band, bringing the band back again, saying, "Oh, we got to get you on visually," because it's always it was the days of I was down in my studio on the radio, had the headset on, and say, "Okay,
Uh-huh.
let's talk." Those days are
I
over. Thank
remember.
goodness.
Thank you, buddy. Well, listen, no, things are good. I have a new film, Final Recovery, that's been out since May 2nd, and it's on Amazon and Tubi. I call it my baby because it took me 15 years to get it made. And it's technically my first ever lead role in almost 40 years of acting. I know I'm sort of in that go-to, which I will forever grateful and keep doing, being the supporting character actor. But it was nice to be the lead, although I don't know if I ever want to work that hard again.
So tell me, so it's your film, you created it, it was your baby.
Well, actually, a friend of mine, Jerry Lee Davis, wrote the script for me and wrote the part for me 16 years ago. The joke became if we didn't hurry up and make it, my character was going to be like on a walker in a wheelchair. I was going to be the grandfather. But just many ups and downs, almost, financing falling through. Every few years, we would drag it out again and try to see if there was any interest in. I tell people all the time, everything's timing in this crazy business. I just happened to connect with a director, Harley Whalen, who came on my podcast about 5 years ago. Harley's predominantly known for horror films, and he reached out a couple of years ago and said, "Do you have any projects?" And I said, "No, I mean, I have this one project that's a drama, it's not horror." And he said, "Do you think we could make it horror?" And I laughed and said, "Oh, no, no, it's no way possible." And he goes, "Well, send it to me." Long story short, I sent it to him. We brought on another young writer to collaborate, and we sort of brought in some horror elements, but it's still really a thriller with some horror elements in it. And it's been it's been the reviews of a lifetime. Charlene Tilton and I star in it, and I'm telling you, man, if people think they knew her as an actress before, you won't believe her in this movie. She's unbelievable.
Wow. And how did you, so you basically, once your friend wrote it, did you have to kind of get everybody on board to act in this?
Well, luckily, I mean, I had been producing for a while, but so my producing partner and I, we all kind of came together. And I tell people, I've never been the raise the money guy. I've always been hired creatively, like put a team together. But Neil, I'm telling you, money just fell out of the sky. I don't know if it's because it was my baby or it was timing, but we got three or four immediate investors. We went off to Michigan. We saved almost double the budget shooting this in Michigan compared to LA. And that's where Harley shoots all his films. And Charlene and I have been trying to work together for 15 years on many different projects. And and then her daughter, Cherish Lee, steals almost every scene in the movie. She also wrote most of the music. Um, it was just bringing in people that we want to work with, and it all came together. And Buffalo 8 bonded is our distributor, and because of that, I'm now in pre-production on two other films with Buffalo. Now we have a relationship with Buffalo 8. Um, I keep saying I'm 61 years old. I got to stay healthy for these next 30 years.
Or more, or say more, keep going.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
when you
yeah.
do something you love, it doesn't matter, right? You get yourself a film, you're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, no, and listen, a friend of mine said, "Why are you starting this whole thing over on another?" I mean, don't get it twisted. I love getting hired to just show up and be an actor, but there is something weird about I call it from concept to red carpet. If you take something from the very, very beginning and see it all the way through, there is a sense of accomplishment. If you have any hair left, or if
So
anybody
you're
sees
looking
you.
to do more after this. This is not, I know you produce for other people, but you're willing to create your own something again. You're looking at.
Yeah, I'm on to my next project now. That our DP on Final Recovery, Nolan Elias, he's 30 years old. He wrote this incredible just script that's unbelievable. And so I'm starring in it with Jennifer Lee Cox and Bill Oberst Jr. and a bunch of people. And it's Nolan's directorial debut. And Buffalo 8 has greenlit it. And so we're back on it. But this one we're shooting in LA. I'm trying to really encourage people to, support LA filmmaking. And
You got to
I know
save it because everyone doesn't think they need to even live in LA anymore. That's the
I
big thing.
know. Yeah, a lot of people have, but you know what? I've been doing this for 40 years and I've seen all the ebbs and flows over the years. Nothing quite like this, but I do think the big tax break Newsom just gave, Buffalo 8 just told us yesterday they're already seeing it help out indie projects
That's good.
on some of their films. So yeah, I mean, we're doing it here, and we're in pre-production now, and hopefully we'll shoot in September, October.
I'm seeing that indie films are about to hit the biggest thing that like it almost reminds me of independent authors or different things. You're about to hit this phase where it's really going to get some real opportunity for creators to potentially make a living, but also to keep actors working in projects they really care about. I see
Yeah.
this happening. And what are you thinking? Series or films? Do you think films are going or it's going to go to series? What are your thoughts on that with all these people doing more series?
Well, I think that for me, it's interesting. It kind of reminds me back to the original like Sundance days, when Sundance was made for indies before they became places for studio films to release. And so Independent Spirit Award, all that, there's a return back. However, it's funny when a movie they call a movie indie, it's $5 million budget. We're talking
Oh,
when I
there's
say
so much money in it. I know. I mean, the expense
I
and
mean, when I say indie, I'm talking, half a million to a million. That's my version of indie. The problem has become, so during COVID, it was make your own content, do your own thing. There were places you could sell it. To be places like that were actually buying projects. And then the strike hit, and we shot this movie in December of 2023. 2 weeks when the strike ended, we went to Michigan because we were told there's going to be all these people wanting to buy your projects. Well, unfortunately, what happened right after the strike, all the most of the distributors cut all their money that they were going to buy films for. So suddenly you make this product, but where are you going to sell it? And so that's kind of the gray area we're at right now is you got to shoot it for as low as possible because the people that are buying the indie films aren't paying a ton of money for it right now. So we're trying to get places that we can actually make our money back because Buffalo 8 is one of the few distributors. Gravitas went under. I don't know if you know,
I
but they
didn't
were
know that. Did they go under?
they went under and they were bought out by another company, but the company is not taking on new projects. So we're
Oh
kind of in that
man,
weird spot. But like you said, I think indies are going to make a comeback. Series, unfortunately, I think series are going to stay at the big four corporations for now. They're just too expensive. I mean, like I said, I can sort of announce here that I'm part of season 2 of Fallout, Amazon's big series based on the video game. So I got to go
oh,
work on that recently, and it's amazing when you go from a $500,000 movie to a series that spends 17 million per episode per episode, and you get to see the have and the have-nots
is
of
that
it
why there's
all.
not tons of content coming out at a time? I mean, like there really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Fallout apparently is $70 million for 8 episodes. The Last of Us is 80 million. I mean, these are huge video games. So it's back to the film version. The film is Marvel movies and everybody else. So it's like the studio pictures and the rest of us. The whole middle class ecosystem of our business is gone right now. And so we're trying to bring it back, and it's going to be a while, I think, unfortunately.
But aren't there a lot of actors not working if that's the case? If they're trying to bring it back?
Tons of actors not working. We were spanked. We got punished last year. So just for having the audacity to strike, there were no jobs purposely. Ironically, our president of SAG, Fran Drescher, went and sold the nanny catalog for $30 million to Peacock 2 days after we settled our contract because, of course, she was on our side helping us to fight the streamers. Don't get me started on her. That's a whole other story. But I mean, some poor actors, they just like walk to the guillotine with the union. The union has been seeing this coming for 25 years, and they just bend over and take it every
Well,
time
I
from
think
the.
I really think it's independent films. I really think it's where these actors are going to get work and they're going to have to get a piece of the pie where they get paid X for working on the project and another Y on it making money.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm saying. We're trying to like, there is no, I mean, yes, as an actor, if you can get a network, if you can go work on a big show like I just did, you make your money doing that, but your passion and your love are these indie projects, and but you have to produce it. The only way to make money on those is to produce it and be a co-owner of the project
Oh,
because there's
100%.
revenue that comes in long term on the streamers on it.
But it doesn't come to the actors or there's a little bit built in.
I mean, if you're smart, you can ask for, some money to act, but there's creative ways of paying that as well. You just have to keep your budget low.
Well, I'm working on with two people an idea for a new streaming network that's going to kind of be similar to PureFlix and Angel, where we're going to take new projects, also trafficking, but keep it more of a kind of not kind of like Angel and PureFlix, but go a little deeper with the sex trafficking and different
Hmm.
things and the law enforcement and military. And I have someone behind it, Dr. Mary Crowley, who's out in LA. She's involved in more the Christian side of things, and we'll see where it goes. I just am being asked to work on these projects. I'm like, okay,
Oh
I'll
man,
see,
that's so great.
I'll see where it goes. It's funny. So many of my authors I've represented as an agency
Yep.
just want their book made into a movie. And it was interesting. I made a contact, and I never thought of this. And I told you about this off air with a new potential client. We have not signed the deal that we're going to do a podcast together, but he's telling me that one of the ways that we're able to help save businesses money on their taxes is by investing in films. I
Hmm.
said, really? So a lot of companies they end up paying Uncle Sam and they could be paying you guys. So that's
Yeah.
where
Well, and I will tell you something I just learned now. There is a potential change, and your guy that you're mentioning, that the new tax guy, he will know all about this. But there's some changes to that rule based starting in January of next year.
I,
So you
I'm
know
sure it
about.
has to do with the big beautiful bill that they figured out ways of
eh,
movies, and they might
eh,
finally help
yes.
actors, meaning get big. If more and more people who the investors who've stopped investing start investing again, look out. Some of
Yeah, I mean, there's in the past you've been able to write off investments in films, and that's why a lot of independent investors have done that. There's a change coming next year that will limit that or change that, or there will be stipulations on it. So we're trying to lock in a couple of projects by the end of the year because these particular investors don't, they want to still be able to write the full amount off. But that's something your guy will be.
oh, interesting to know. But I didn't know that that was how. Maybe see these are what you hear, and then what you hear and not hear, depending.
Well, there's a name for this particular tax situation. I don't want to misspeak, but it involves some numbers. But I think your guy will know it, and there's ways to work within the new law that's happening.
Uh,
But I guess my point is, it's again, it's changing the landscape a little bit.
but I'm hoping that they get things get going again. And you think it
Hmm.
will. You feel
I
good that
do. Yeah, because like I'm working with these younger people. Like I said, this DP Nolan is 30. And I always say to people, this is what this is what they know, right? So when I got here 40 years ago, I only knew what I knew at the time. And I had people tell me, oh God, you should have seen it 10 years ago. It was so much better. And I just don't want to be that old guy saying that it's gloom and doom. And I just think for a lot of the younger people, they're so optimistic. That's why I want to work with all these, 25, 30-year-old filmmakers because they're excited and they have a lot of passion and they're not jaded and bitter.
all right, okay. Jasper, best place people can check out the film and all that stuff. Where can they go?
Right now it's free on Tubi, but there are commercials. But then we love the commercials because that's how we make money. And then it's on Amazon as well. And you can go to jaspercole.com to follow me. Everything is on there. And I love to stay in touch with everyone.